Consider the following business scenario. For reporting purposes, we need to find out if the reporting year is a leap year or not. Let's start with the logic. A year is a leap year if it meets the following conditions. The year is evenly divisible by 4. If the year is evenly divisible by 100, it is not a leap year unless the year is also evenly divisible by 400. As for the workflow design, we'll build a simple project that asks the user to input a year. It then checks if the conditions are met and prints a message to indicate if it is a leap year or not. We encourage you to build along with this demo. Additionally, you'll find the input files used in the demo after this video. Let's see how we can use an if activity in a sequence workflow. We'll add a sequence. Name it leap year using if. And then add an annotation for it. Next, we'll add an input dialog activity that we'll use to get the year from the user. And name it input year. Let's fill in the input properties for the activity. Now let's create an int32 variable and add it to the result field of the input dialog. Next, let's add an if activity to our workflow. Let's name it if statement for checking leap year. This activity contains 3 sections: condition, then, and else. The condition field must contain a Boolean expression based on which either the then section or the else section is executed. Let's enter the expression in the condition field. This is the VB.NET expression used to set the conditions. In UiPath workflows, we use VB.NET syntax. Check the link below the video for more information regarding expressions in VB.NET. Remember the conditions we've mentioned earlier? A leap year is evenly divisible by 4, but if it is evenly divisible by 100, it also needs to be divisible by 400. Now that we've entered the expression in the condition field of the if activity, we'll add 2 message box activities. One on the then branch, named print result true, with the message this year is a leap year. And another one on the else branch, named print result false, with the message this year is not a leap year. Let's save the workflow, run it, and test it with a few values. That looks good. For the next step, let's develop a workflow with the same logic, but instead of a sequence, we'll use a flowchart. We'll click New Flowchart in the ribbon menu. We'll name it Leap Year Flowchart. And add an annotation as well. Let's add an input dialog activity and connect it to the Start node. This will make it the first activity to run in the workflow. Rename it and fill in the input properties for the activity. Now let's define the variable year of type int32. Next, we'll add a flow decision activity and connect the input dialog activity to it. We'll enter the same expression as in the previous workflow in the condition field. Now let's add the two message boxes. One with the message, "This year is a leap year." Connect it with the true branch of the flow decision. The other with the message, "This year is not a leap year." Connect it with the false branch of the flow decision. It's time to save and run the workflow and see what we've got. This looks good. We've just solved the same business scenario using the same logic, but with two types of workflows. Since sequences have a simple, linear representation, they're best suited for simple scenarios. A scenario that flows from top to bottom, where activities follow each other. In contrast, flowcharts are best suited for showcasing important decision points within a process. A sequence would do just fine to solve this scenario.